Oh, man. So, yeah, moving right along. We're going to get into some off-topic discussion things here. But that kind of... this game lends itself to these ideas. Being an exclusively downloadable only title, as Payday is, what is your stance on the quality of downloadable games these days? And has this game done anything to improve or damage your outlook on it? I don't know who we... Josh?
Actually, I've just recently started downloading games. You know, you always have to buy the hard copy. But no, this is definitely...
Now, I just want to be clear, sorry. Like any game nowadays, you can download, if it's a disc-based one or not. I'm just talking specifically about the games that are exclusive to download.
Oh, yeah, exclusive download games. I don't know. To me, a game's a game, no matter which way you have it. Download it. Whether it be download only or you can go to your GameStop or whatever. To me, it doesn't matter as long as it's fun, playable, and and you can have a good time with it. Yeah. Really, I would do download only again. Doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
I think you do miss out on a bit of your market. With getting some people into the game. Some people don't have the hard drive for it, or some people are lacking space on their PlayStation or whatever, and so that is one downside to it. I don't know if I'm answering the question.
Yeah, no, because this is basically the second game that we've done this for, and both times they've been, at the time, exclusively download titles. Walking Dead and now Payday. And there was a time when these downloadable games were coming out. My first experience was on the PlayStation 3, where you could download these little games. And a lot of them weren't of any good quality. I mean, they were sort of along the lines of what you would find as an iPod app or iPad app, but for PlayStation 3. So you always looked at them like, well, this is a system that's supposed to produce next gen everything, and I'm getting these little pixel art games, and it didn't,
To put it another way, my experience with what you're talking about was when I first got my Xbox 360. And you have your Xbox 360, and then you go and you buy a nice copy of Halo or a copy of Red Dead Redemption or something, and those are the real games the Xbox plays. And then you have your Xbox Live Arcade where you can get your little games. Right? That was my experience with it, and I think we're seeing sort of a revolution. I think it's becoming much more widely popular to download games solely. I think it's getting a heck of a lot easier to do it, and I think there's a big market for it.
Now, the one thing we've all kind of missed out on before we get to Dean here, is that with Payday the Heist, do you think this is a nudge in the right direction, or is this kind of in the camp like, does this support the flag for downloadable content as what's the word I'm looking for? A respectable medium?
I think it does. Okay. I think it does. I think it's one of the games that does. You can look at, there are other excellent examples. Braid's an example. Bastion's an example. There's a lot of great downloadable games. Payday, I think. I think like we've talked about, for the price, it's a great game. It really is a solid game. And I want to bring up the price thing, because when you're talking about downloadable games, they tend to be cheaper because you don't have to deal with the hardware, you don't have to deal with the disc, the packaging, the manual, the distribution, anything like that. You can keep your cost low. And I think Payday does a really good job of trumpeting the downloadable game, because this game is cheap. I think regular price is $20.
It's 15.
15, but it goes on sale several times a year for like $5 at a time. Over the holidays, it was $2.50. PlayStation Network subscribers, they get it for free. They're giving this game away, and it's a quality game. You can't, like, how can you compete with that? right? You can't. I mean, there are always going to be, I think, your big budget games, your Hollywood blockbuster games, where people are going to want, Halo 4 with the Master Chief helmet. Or they're going to want Assassin's Creed 3 with the art book, right? Or maybe you're just an actual avid collector and you like to have hard copies of games.
Much like people who still collect vinyl, CDs.
Sure, absolutely.
And they have their MP3 collection too.
But then there's also people like me. I dig comic books. I read them though. I don't collect them. In the case of video games, I play them. I don't collect them. So it works to me. I love the idea that I have, on my computer right now, I have something like, call it 30 games playable at this moment. And I don't have a single hard copy of any of them cluttering up my office.
30 games.
Yeah, I know. I'm a limp-wristed noob, I know. But no, I love the fact, I think back to when I was in university and I had my studio apartment and, I had my bookshelf just full of DVDs and video games. And now that I'm an adult and my apartment's full of other useless crap, I like that I don't have to have shelves and shelves of video games sitting there that, I can keep them apart from everything else.
Yeah.
See, I would agree with that because I've been, a few of my discs went missing for some of my favorite games recently. And, after I found one, it was fell in behind the couch, 2 years ago, pulled it out, and I'm like, that's where it was. And, given the fact, I'm messy, but if that would have been on the hard drive of my computer, I probably would have been able to play it a lot more frequently because, it is nice having everything in one organized space, and I think, this game does help out with raising the flag for downloadable games and downloadable content.
Cool. Dino?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much echoing the same things that they said. I've never had a problem looking past the digital download taboo, I guess you could say. This is, it's a little bit different because I'm talking about a game that had a hard copy, but for the WoW expansions, for example, I used to play WoW with Cory. And
WoW is World of Warcraft.
Which you should already know.
If you're watching this, you probably do know it.
And with that game, the first couple expansions, you made a point to you go opening night.
How many discs
in the
were
cold,
we? Oh my god.
You get freezing cold waiting in line at 11 o'clock at night. It's the middle of December or whatever, all for a game. And then they started with the digital downloads. And at first we're like, wow, what a ripoff. You're charging me the same price, and I don't get the disc, I don't get the box, I don't get the extension manual. And I was really pissed off. Forget it. I'm not a sucker, as I went and stood out in the cold again. The next year, I learned, I said, you know what, I'm going to try this. And not having to leave the house, having the game installed before the game came out, there's all kinds of things. It was all updated.
Well, and do you remember in the case of WoW, after Burning Crusade and into the last hard copy I bought was Wrath of the Lich King. And I don't remember if you had to do this, but I lost my installation of WoW after Wrath came out, so I had to reinstall. That's 10 discs at that point that you got installed. Yeah. And then Blizzard put out their fancy digital downloader, and it's a matter of click, 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 let it do its thing, and it's installed.
Come back in a day and your whole game's ready.
Exactly.
Wow.
So moving on from that, let's say more indie titles that don't have a hard copy. This has been the year for digital download indie titles like FTL.
Well, I gotta say, because you brought FTL up, there are downloadable games out there that I would love a hard copy of. I'd love to have a hard copy of FTL.
The Leprechaun?
I'd love to play
faster than light.
Okay.
Bastion. I'd love a collector's edition of Bastion. I'd love there's a market for that too, and I think that could be recognized.
We're not abbreviating the games.
Yeah.
Faster. Actually, it is abbreviated. Faster than light.
Well, but we're not doing the abbreviating.
I'm unabbreviating everything. That's what I do.
Don't look at me. I don't know what he's talking about.
The only thing I'll add to that, I do think this is in the stable of good downloadable games, for sure. And like we were saying, this is definitely a banner year for downloadable titles. I mean, for crying out loud, a downloadable game won Game of the Year at Spike VGAs this year.
The Walking Dead!
The Walking Dead! And who called it? We did! But yeah, I mean...
what was that other one?
Journey was up there as well.
Oh, great game.
Yep.
Great game.
We finally lost the last little bit of the green.
Oh.
Journey is another one. There are so many we could name. It's insane. And, you know, I was going to go off on a little bit of a tangent, but I'm going to save that, and I'm going to use it to kind of lead us into our next question here.
Sorry, Jason, I totally interrupted you.
No, you didn't, because I think it was your turn. My next question is due to the price of this game. Like we said, this is a $15 game, and you could play it for just as long as any AAA title that I've seen out there nowadays. But the actual price of this game, when you guys are shopping for games, does the price tag of a game dictate your expectation for quality?
Who are you? Is that Cory or?
I'll toss it to Cory. Yeah. Say if you take, for example, let's think. What was your crap game?
My worst game?
Yeah.
Oh boy, what did I say?
This year.
The War Z.
The War Z. Okay, the War Z. Let's say that was going for $60.
Well, see, this is my point.
Okay.
If I look at a game, all things being equal, if I look at a game and it's $10, I don't immediately think, oh, this is going to be a crappy game. Far from it, because some of the best games I've played in a long time have been $10 games. You know, and like I hate to be a big Steam fanboy, but Steam gives their games away for dirt cheap. You know, games that I bought for less than $10 recently. Back to the Future by Telltale, Spec Ops: The Line, The Sims 3, Max Payne 3 I got for a Door Crasher sale. So no, I don't think that the price indicates, a higher price indicates good quality. I think that if a game is high priced and it ends up sucking, I think I get really upset with that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's quite the same thing. I think that works in the opposite direction. No, I don't think, like for me personally, price, I like to consider myself an educated gamer. Usually if I'm going to buy a game, I've seen enough of the game that I have a good idea what I'm getting into.
Right.
And that factors into my am I going to buy the game or not,
right,
more so than what the price is. So.
Do you know?
Price has a lot to do with me, whether it's indie. So a $20 indie game could be AAA top of the market, right? Whether it's new or not. So if a game's 4 years old, it could still be an amazing game, but only be $5 because it's 4 years old. Can't excuse me. But so, no, price doesn't factor into for me. I always do my research, see reviews, and several different reviews, and see what people have to say about the game in general.
You watch DeepSeededGeek, you see
Yes,
what he has to
say. I plugged in to the
I actually do that. I'm like, I hear this guy talking about a game, then I actually watch a few episodes, and I'm like,
oh, stop, please, stop.
I'm gonna try Mark the Ninja.
Oh god damn! If there is a game out there that is the flag waving banner for downloadable games last year, it is Mark the Ninja.
I've heard a lot of good things about that one. I haven't tried it yet.
Oh, do not run to that game and embrace it like a lover you haven't seen. It is so good.
Excellent.
I'll say it like this. Did you like Metal Gear Solid when you were growing up?
When I was growing up, I did, yeah.
Get on it.
Yeah?
Get on it, baby. Yep. So, Josh.
I'm not a fan of it anymore, but when I was growing up, I was.
Yeah, it steered a little ways away from it, but it's still Metal Gear Solid's good, you know.
I'm basically just going to echo what these guys said is do your market research.
Yeah.
If it's something that looks like it's your type of game, then get into it. Do your market research.
A lot of people want your money. So,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't deserve your money.
I totally agree with that because there's nothing that sucks more than spending $70 on a game, no matter where you buy it, and hating it.
Well, let me interrupt you for a second and ask Dean a question. Dino, given the price of Assassin's Creed 3, would you rather have Assassin's Creed 3 or would you rather have had that amount of money spread out across a bunch of cheaper games?
There's no question I'd rather have a bunch of cheaper games.
Yeah.
That being said, because I consider myself a diehard Assassin's Creed fan, I wouldn't have had it any other way. But in a perfect world, I wouldn't have wanted to spend
Fair enough.
money on
Did you sell the game?
I cannot. It's a PC.
Oh,
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, well, hey, that I guess, and that's one of the downsides to having downloaded content.
No,
versus having
upside. You want people going to GameSpot and spending look, there's a new copy of Assassin's Creed 3 for $70, or I can buy the used copy
for
$69.
$69.
And meanwhile, Dino sold that copy for $10.
Yeah.
Like, no, don't do that. Don't buy used games from GameStop.
One word, Kijiji.
Kijiji.
Okay, fair enough.
Kijiji
Fair
works,
enough.
yeah.
What I'm saying is, I consider myself an informed and educated gamer, and part of what I like about indie games is you get to support people that deserve it. People that are really fighting for your money. People that made FTL, man, I want to throw my money at them because they just make great games,
Now, the only thing I will counter to what you were saying about don't do that to GameStop or EB Games, I can't get on the bandwagon with hating EB Games for what they do. They're running a business, and that's fine. You go anywhere. You'll go to use CD shops. It's just there.
It's just the way it has to be.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that it is so popular in the sense that people do go. The uneducated gamer will say, and that's not calling people idiots, because if there's ever evidence of idiots, right here. But the uneducated gamer, the parent that just buys games and doesn't know what they're getting for their kids and all this kind of stuff, if they go in and they're in that kind of downfall economic thing that's going on, and they see a game, Call of Duty, for the $60 price tag, or one that's used, that's $5 off, well, they can save that $5. And I can understand why they go for that. But the crap thing is that if you are an educated gamer, you know that buying that used copy, even for $5 less, means no money goes towards that developer to make the next game. The only way any of these developers can create their games is by getting revenue from the original purchase of those discs. All the used copies, they don't see a cent of that. So if 500,000 copies of a used game get sold, that's $500,000 times the $60 that they could have made off it. That's not going to the publishers to make their next game. And that's when you get situations like THQ, a big publisher, going under. And it's just a sad state of affairs. So for $5 extra, you're actually, helping so many people out by just giving into that $5.
If you truly, I am of the opinion, and maybe I'm overstating it, but I am of the opinion that if you truly love video games, if you truly are a gamer at heart, and you truly love it, and you believe that it's a valid art form, which I do believe that it's a valid type of art. I really do believe that there's enough creative, intellectual, creative freedom put into these games that we can consider them art. If you truly believe that, I am of the mind that you will not buy those used games at EB.
Much like you will not download
think about where
movies.
your money.
Much like you will not download music.
Think about where your money is going. Think about the people that need the money, because they're people who create these video games. They're telling stories, and they're their stories to share, and they become our stories by playing them. So we should want our money to be good to go to them. Now, I do accept that, not everybody has a disposable income as much as some other people do. You do have to pick and choose. But again, that just speaks highly to downloadable games.
Sorry to interrupt, but in the case of EB Games, when we're talking about cost, I'm sorry, but $5 is only $5. And if you've already committed to buying a game, $5 off isn't
If you're in EB Games and you're going to fork out $65, I would like you pretty please to spend that extra $5 to get a brand new copy of the game to make sure that next year you will have a NHL 14, that you'll have a Battlefield 4, that people will keep being able to make these.
And there's actually other things behind that too that can give people reasons to buy new games, which is developer strategies, and those are. Now I'm not a big fan of these.
Oh yeah.
But they're good for their business, and those are online codes.
Buy a new copy of Assassin's Creed 3 as opposed to a used. You get a ticket for a special hat that Connor gets to wear.
Yeah.
Or a weapon or missions that you don't get.
I'm actually talking about the certain online games, like I think Call of Duty now does it, where.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
If you're the first person to play it and you registered it, you can play that online. The second you sell that game and they try and play it online, their account has to activate it, and they can't activate it because it can only be activated once.
Much like PC games, why they can't be
which again leads us back to how we started this, which is do your market research.
Yes.
Because boy, is it going to suck when you pick up a copy of Battlefield and you want to go play online with your buddies and you cannot.
Yeah.
So.
And EB isn't going to give you a refund.
No.
EB thinks you're scum.
Actually, I will. I'm sorry to be in the EBA camp or EB Games camp here. For that one aspect of them that is negative and that's not helping the gaming industry, I gotta admit, one thing that they are stellar for is really upholding the ESRB.
Yes.
I have never gone, and they do have great customer service. I have never gone into a store when I buy a game that I don't spend another 15 minutes talking to the guy where he's saying, if you like this, have you heard of this? Check this out. I love that too. Oh, what game did you like? And I have a conversation with these employees. I don't go anywhere else and have a conversation with them.
Part of why I'm so sour is because I've been the guy standing in line behind you. I literally have. I once walked into an EB game to buy. I bought The Force Unleashed, and I stood there for about 10 minutes behind a guy in line, just kind of daydreaming. Yeah. Before I realized that nobody was buying anything, everybody was just standing there chatting. And then, finally they clued in. But that's an isolated thing. But
and the other thing I will say about them is the ESRB thing. If ever I'm in line and I see a parent with their kids going up with the games, they'll look at it and they'll see 7-year-old Timmy with one tooth in his head and the mom just saying, yeah, he wants Call of Duty Black Ops 2. The guys actually say, you do know this is a mature rated game and that he should not be playing this game because there is this. And the parent will go either, oh, I had no idea. Timmy, you're an idiot, or the parent will make that decision and go, and buy it for him anyway. They
inform them, though.
They inform them, and they make an effort to acknowledge the fact that this is very mature material that you're going to be showing your child. I want you to be aware of this.
Trying to stress how much you're going to scar your child.
Yeah, exactly.
Get this game.
Exactly. I don't know a single gamer out there who wishes upon a 17 and under kid to experience a Call of Duty game, because there is so much realism in it and so much violence. You wouldn't want to expose them to that. If they're 18 and they're interested in this thing, fine, you're of age, you can process that and everything. But at that young an age, why would you want to?
Can you imagine being 7 years old and for the first time you're playing Call of Duty 2 in the campaign, and you have to walk into that airport with those other three guys?
I skipped that mission.
Can you imagine?
Exactly.
Can you imagine being a 10-year-old and playing through Far Cry 3, where the whole theme of the game is you become a brainwashed soldier of fortune who is that's your whole purpose, is you're so you're the character you play becomes so traumatized by the horrors that he's performing that's his character arc, is going to that extreme and then coming back. I mean, games today are very sophisticated. We play with adult themes, and this gets us back on track towards Payday. We play with adult themes. It's not like I mean, there was a lot of uproar back when we were young, and we were playing video games like Mortal Kombat. But that was still very sensationalized fantasy violence, right? Today's day and age, like Dean said, you play games where you take the role of a terrorist gunning down innocent people in an airport.
Yep.
A certain level of responsibility needs to be maintained.
Yes.
And I was, 29 when I played that, and I literally put the controller down after the level and went, like, I stopped and I just had to reflect on the horrors that I just, and it was a video game.
That's horrors, not whores.
But about the horrors that I had perpetrated. It's so jarring the first time you play that mission, because you're not expecting it, and suddenly you're a mass murderer. So for a parent to not be informed that you're going to be performing mass murder, or your 6-year-old's going to be killing hundreds of innocent civilians in this game, you know, that's the kind of thing I would want to know.
And it's funny that you brought that particular game up, because without a doubt, I know this for a fact, I was in line. This whole scenario that I brought up with Timmy the Toothless and his mother there, that was the game that they were purchasing, was Modern Warfare 2. And the cashier actually said to her, the very first thing your child will do in this game is become a terrorist, walk into an airport, and gun down civilians. She didn't buy the game. And thank God she didn't. Because morally, I think that's wrong. I mean, this is a very opinionated thing we're saying right now, but morally, I do think it's wrong. I don't think it's wrong to have created it in the first place, because obviously it's built to elicit emotions. And
I would have a problem with a game called Terrorist 2013.
I would have a problem with a game called Columbine. Oh,
Yes.
wait, there is one. But
when it's done for a reason, when it's done to show the horrors that people are capable of performing, it transcends. It becomes something that only a video game can do, because you can read about things like that, you can see things like that happening on the news or in movies or whatnot, and that's one thing. To put the controller in your hand and to, as a player, make the choice to fulfill the objective of killing innocent people in an airport is a whole different thing, because it puts the morality of it on you.
Can I tack onto this, since we're already talking about it?
yeah, for sure, go ahead.
Is one of the craziest parts about that whole mission is you do all this and you actually feel like you've lost something in yourself after doing it, and you get to the end of the mission and you're actually like a soldier undercover, and you're trying to prove yourself to these guys, and you go to get in the truck, the guy pushes you down and shoots you in the head, and that's the end of the mission. So you've put yourself out there,
No, spoiler.
killing these people and just feeling absolutely horrible, and it's all for nothing. It's just this empty experience that kind of wrecks you. You're like, I can't believe that just, wow. Like,
Well,
just,
it speaks to it, the fact that, I mean, how long ago did Modern Warfare 2 come out, and we're still talking about it? It's still one of those memorable moments in gaming.
Yeah.
So,
sure.
anyways, we should
I
perhaps get
digress.
back on track.